All right, guys. Thanks for joining in today. I see it's about 6:02, so I'm just going to give the rest of the audience another couple of minutes before we get started. I hope everyone's doing well today. It's probably a resounding yes. All right. Yes. You should be able to see interactions if you have joined on your app or you've joined via your browser. You should be able to give a thumbs up. Can I get a thumbs up from you if you're there? If you can hear me, okay, give me a thumbs up. If you can't hear me, give me an angry face or a crying face. Oh, that's a lot of thumbs up. Fantastic. Fantastic. There's 50 of us who've joined, which is absolutely amazing. Sincerely thank all of you who've decided to spend their Sunday evening to learn a little bit about Figma. Just another 2 minutes and then we'll get started. And while we're just getting started with the session, before we get started, if I can get you all to look at the poll question that would have just been sent to your phones or on your laptop. This is just to get a feel of where most of you are in terms of Figma. Fantastic. See, a lot of you have already voted, which is really good. Fantastic. Please vote. We will be having a couple of poll questions throughout the session. Hopefully you'll find that interesting, and it'll help me also tailor my message through the rest of today's session as well. Fantastic. So that's majority, 75% of you have voted. If you haven't voted, please check that you can give that option in. Again, this is quite valuable for me to know where everyone is. If you've just joined in the last 20 seconds, we've just opened the poll up. So on your phone and on your laptop, you should see an option to submit a response to your poll. Oh, very good. All right, so we're in at 5 minutes into 6 o'clock. So let us get started. And all right, so just giving a quick summary of that poll, just in case you were curious. 34% of you said no idea of Figma. That's brilliant. You are here to learn something very interesting today. Beginner just started using Figma. That's also great. You're going to like learning about what is possible in Figma and how we use Figma at our company. And hopefully that'll give you some insights on what you can do at your organization as well. Intermediate, have used Figma in the past. That's about 17% of you. And advanced, that's 0. So very good. I'm pleased to note that I am probably the most qualified Figma person here, which means I have a lot to share and you have a lot to learn. So this is going to be very useful for you. If you are an advanced Figma, but you're just being very humble, like most designers aren't typically, that's okay. You'll still find hopefully a couple of things useful for you. Yeah. And I've just put in another poll question as well, just in terms of what areas you need some help in your app development, or it can be any sort of thing wherever you see sort of Figma being useful. Just let me know what your thoughts are on that. Again, all of these are ideally where Figma is a good companion for, and about 53% of you have submitted your responses in, so please do click through. This is just to give me a great idea of what it is that you're looking for in today's session. You also have the Q&A section in front of you, so you can ask questions. I am ably assisted by my fantastic friends who will be looking through the questions here. Shout out to you guys. Some of you have requested anonymity in not announcing your names, so I will let the audience read them out for themselves. All right. Cool. So looking at that response, a couple of you said yes. You guys are all looking for a mix of apps, mix of UX, UI, UX design. All right, cool. So I think we've got a good turnout today. There's a good number of us. So I'll get started in case anyone else joins. In case you're expecting somebody else, one of your friends or anyone you forwarded to join, just nudge them once again so that they don't get to miss this. And in case you do have to drop off, I fully understand. Please do drop off, but try and listen in if you can. There will be a recording that will be shared, but there are a couple of tips towards the end which might not make it. I would suggest you stay on for that. I'm just trying to encourage everyone to stay on and just get the maximum of this session. All right, let's get started. All right, I'll begin by sharing my screen. Just give me a thumbs up when you can see my screen so I know that you guys are all seeing what I'm seeing. I see one thumbs up, so I will wait for at least a wave of them. There's that wave. Awesome. Great. So firstly, today's session is Design for Managers, the Figma edition. This is in part through and with the IIM Bangalore Alumni Association, the Hyderabad chapter, as well as my own company, Quantana, which is into product design, development, and marketing. We will be running a series of sessions for managers. Design is one of them, and within design as well, there are multiple tools that are very commonly used. And as part of these series, we'll be going through a lot of these tools over time. We're starting with Figma today because that's in a space where a lot of you might have heard of Figma, or in some case never heard of Figma, but it is one of the definitive tools for any application development. Anytime you're touching something with software or landing pages or websites, inevitably Figma will play an important role. So with that, just our quick agenda for today. I'll be showing you what Figma can do and how Figma is used to make something. There'll also be a follow me session on Figma. So I will be opening up one of the Figma files. And if you are enthusiastic enough, you will be learning how to create a few small widgets and hopefully a very, 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 very tiny landing page with me. And I'll share a link for that. If you can, while you're watching this, please do register on figma.com. Just make sure you have an account. And towards the end, a couple of things around how AI can be used along with Figma. It's not as great as you might think, so I'm going to set your expectation as low as possible when it comes to AI, but it is something that I do want to share with you because it is something that's getting better and better over time. All right, so many of you had submitted what it is you were looking for in today's session, so just as a quick recap, this is something that was just generated in ChatGPT as a summary of what you had submitted. As you can see, this isn't particularly helpful because it's just telling me design, Figma, and learn in designing. So I did ask ChatGPT to get rid of those words and then give me a word cloud of what it is that you're looking for. And it seems like basics and product were some of the key words that were coming out of this. And you can see a lot of other landing page, wireframe, process, skill, a lot of stuff. So this is hundreds of responses compressed to a single image. And if you do want to see how to do this, I can show this in a probably separate session as well. All right, so a little bit about me, not more than 10 seconds ago. I am an IIM Bangalore alumnus, as you can see, as part of the shirt that I'm wearing, and that's from campus as well. I have founded the company Quantana, which now has 80 people working across design, development, and marketing. Been doing this for the past 6 years as a company, but a big fan of design since a very long time. I dream often of just designing stuff if literally I stand still, I just visualize the designs in my head. I find it very soothing. It's like meditating for me. I'm sure we all have our different ways of dealing with life. Mine happens to be Figma designs. And I have been working with a range of clients. I was in Australia for about 8 years and been working with a range of industries and clients, etc. You'll recognize the Indian School of Business. We've been doing a lot of design and development work for them. I'll also call it the Indian Coffee Festival, which is coming up in Hyderabad. I would highly suggest that you come for that. And a whole bunch of clients which are under NDA, which I can't really talk about, but I am 100% sure that at least 95% of you have their vaccine inside you. And that's all I'll say about that. I can say that under NDA, right? A little bit more about me. A lot of love on my LinkedIn, as you will see. But one of the unique aspects that we do as a team, as myself, is try and do a lot of Figma designs as quickly as possible. And that's something that I'll be showing you today as well. And it's something that I really love. And the nature of design is really anything that you need built out. If you can do it and sort of fix it within an hour, that will save about 10 hours of development time and ongoing pain, etc. So really, the earlier you can do designs and get them in front of people, the faster you can validate your idea, the faster you can convince people, the faster you can, get a lot of buy-in and communicate your ideas to your team as well. Quick etiquette. Again, I realize this is a webinar session as well. The idea is that I'll quickly go through the session as quickly as possible. If you have any questions, please drop them in the Q&A. My lovely team will be looking at them as well and pinging me if there's something that needs to be brought up. If we don't get the time to respond to that, I will definitely get back to you separately as well. Secondly, please do create a Figma account. You can use your personal mail, etc. I will be sharing a link midway through this session where you can log in. I've already set it to allow anyone to use that. And if you want, you can clone that and continue your learning journey with that. And finally, please do join me on LinkedIn. That's where I'll be sharing more such sessions and hopefully more interesting tidbits down the line as well. All right, let's over to Figma. And you can take notes, but I'll share the recording anyway. So just letting you know. All right, so I'm going to start with a couple of things. I'm just going to show you what Figma can do and how we currently use it. And just a quick preview of what I'll just show you as a demo is a couple of mobile applications, a web application, and a couple of effects that Figma is capable of. And so this is a Figma prototype. Now, as you can see here, there's a nice colorful screen in front of you wrapped around by a prototype of a phone, an iPhone to be specific. Now, over here, in most cases, you might have seen some sort of design that's being done. In the old days, people would do it in Photoshop, people would try and do something in Word or anything else, but now Figma is the preferred choice. And it's not just a static image, it's actually a clickable prototype. So I can actually click through and experience the application. And I can swipe right, I can get little effects. In fact, I can just slide it. You see, I'm actually clicking and dragging the screen as well, right? And this is something that's quite revolutionary when you want people to experience your application before making it. And the beauty of this application, I'm going to take a quick stop of my screen share. And what I'll do is I'll just show you kind of the same thing over here. So this clickable prototype is open on my phone. and I'm able to click through the rest of the application. And I can tap in certain areas and I'll know where certain areas are and I can experience it. So that sliding effect that you saw, I can do that same sliding effect on this as well. And this, if you wanted to have built in an Android or iOS application, this is days of work, asking somebody, convincing them, make this happen, etc. But on Figma, you're able to show this on a live phone. This is my actual phone. And I literally just create this, put it in the hands of my customer and say, this is what you're going to get. And this is easily 50 times more powerful than telling somebody, oh, I'll do this for you and it looks like this, and just close your eyes and swipe. I don't know. You can experience it on your hand. And there's truly nothing like it in terms of pitching to a client, in terms of talking to an advisor or an investor. There's nothing like a hand feel of your idea. And this entire application is quite complex. I will not go into the full details of it, but hopefully that gave you an idea of how app prototype can be opened on your screen, but also opened live on your mobile phone. Another example, which I'll just show you over here, is for web applications. So when we look at web applications, we're also looking at a similar kind of effect, but this time with a whole laptop prototype around it. Now, imagine if somebody sent you a Word document and said, here are the specifications of what I need, versus something like this, where you have a full scrollable, clickable, experienceable, almost mock videos. It's almost like a live application, isn't it? And this is something that can be done remarkably quickly. This exact application or this exact prototype was about 5 hours of work. And you can see it's explaining, it's giving you the full experience of this entire tool within one shot. This was about 5 hours of work. And in fact, this application is something that we're building ourselves, and it's being built out. We started this particular screen, we started about a week ago, and we have a working prototype on another tech platform, and we're expecting this to go live in about a week and a half. So we're doing very well on time, and all thanks to Figma being able to communicate exactly what needs to be built live. Right. And finally, what I'd just like to preview for you is a couple of animation effects, which again are really small things, but just elevate the whole experience of your tool. So if you're, for example, building a landing page and you want to show an effect of going from one page to another, you can create little, very small transitions that again give you a very amazing feel. And here, if I click here on hover, there's a small unhover effect. You can slide stuff around. You can click stuff and it'll just load and it'll not load. And you have little pop-ups as well. Now, all of these are very small pieces of design in individual basis, but together they allow you to create an entirely rich application. And especially when you are trying to show this to a particular client or to an investor or to a friend, even if you have an idea and you just want to convey it, it's extremely powerful. And the conversion rate on anything that you do in Figma versus sending a Word document or a PDF is just so much higher that this is now the only way we send out any sort of design proposal or design idea. All right, back to you. So that's a quick preview of what Figma can do. I'd say these are my favorite highlights of what Figma can do. If you have any questions on anything so far, please just pop them in the Q&A, and we will slowly get back to you as well. Cool. All right. Okay, so what is Figma? You might have guessed by now that Figma is a tool for building digital products, namely apps and websites. Figma is great at building design mockups. It's great for creating clickable prototypes. And the way I use it, it's also a free-form whiteboard that just stretches to infinity. So literally there is no limit to the entire board of what Figma can do. Of course, there is a technical limit, but it's spiritually a limitless whiteboard. And that is extremely liberating and allows your team to really think through a lot of ideas and rapidly make prototypes and rapidly make changes, etc. The speed at which Figma is allows you to make those design changes and design prototypes, it's something that I've not seen anywhere else except for in Figma. So I'm a huge fan. Now, Figma, I'm not alone in this, design journey, etc. Figma is currently the most popular tool by far for any sort of product design. So when I say product design, I'm talking about apps, websites, to some extent, some social media as well, but I'll talk about that as well. But as you can see, it's by far the leader. By the way, this is an old chart. This is from 2021, so it's about 3 years old now, but this has just stretched even further since. It was so popular that the makers of Photoshop, well, they tried to buy it. They wanted to spend $20 billion, which is quite a big sum. Yeah, I wish I had some fraction of that, but it's quite a large sum. And the only reason they weren't allowed to do that was various government bodies thought Adobe would become too powerful because of Figma. And they said, you're killing one of your major competitors. And so they had to call it off. But imagine that somebody wanted to buy Figma for $20 billion. That's how good a tool it is. Okay, so what is it not? And this is where I think it's very important for us to understand what Figma is really good at and what it isn't. What it's good at, as you can see, is a lot of prototypes and clickables and all of that, but it is not a photo editing tool. And instead, what I would suggest you do is use Photoshop or Procreate if you're into iPad. But for managers, and I'm assuming that I'm speaking at the managerial level, I would not suggest you start learning Photoshop design from scratch today. It's better to get somebody else to do it as long as you can direct and are aware of what needs to happen from a design perspective. Figma is also not really good for templates and easy creation of socials and slides and that sort of thing. In fact, you would have seen this presentation or the slides that I've made earlier were on Canva. If you haven't heard of Canva, please absolutely go check out Canva. As a manager, you should 100% know how to use Canva. If you don't know how to use it, it's extremely easy to use. But if there's interest in learning about Canva in the future, this is one of the sessions that I'm planning to have as well, where we'll workshop some of the basics of Canva and how to use templates, etc. So Figma is not really good at using templates, etc. It's really good in the hands of somebody who wants to wireframe quickly and create some designs that can then be discussed, edited quickly, and then made into something that the rest of your team, your devs, your investors, etc., can really go through as a prototype and put together and make happen, really. So any questions on this, please do drop a Q&A section to it. And yeah, some of these will be answered by the team, but I'll go ahead and answer that towards the end as well. All right, so we've seen what Figma is and isn't. And one more thing, again, from an awareness perspective, this was a question that came up earlier as well. Really, where does Figma fit in the life cycle of building products? And I thought this was a really good visual, and it actually comes from Figma's own website. So thank you, Figma, for that. I guess this is as true as it can be, given that it's come from them. And you can see I've just put a highlight over here, so I'm going to get rid of you for a second. So when you're typically building out a product, you might do some brainstorming. Then you'll probably do some wireframing. You'll build some mock-ups, again, probably low fidelity or just screens that have some medium fidelity. And then you make it clickable, and then eventually you convert that into code, and then you might have your final product. So where Figma as a company, as a portfolio, has offerings is right from the beginning of brainstorming all the way to what I would say is about half of coding. They're being very generous with that code part. In my experience, it's very helpful in small components, but it is not where I would go to in terms of creating code. In fact, from experience, it's better to work with somebody who can create code on another platform altogether. But for everything else, it is absolutely brilliant. You can see other tools which claim to be, all-in-one tools. UiZard is something that is quite fun to use. UX Spin is also quite good to use in that sense. You've got low-code systems as well. You can see the way they've categorized it. Framer. Somebody sent me a message on LinkedIn asking about Framer. That probably best starts from mockups, where you have some templates and you can start making changes all the way to final product. And of course, if you're building code from scratch, you've got Visual Studio, you're probably starting somewhere over here. A lot of tools also now have UI and other interesting elements, etc. So this is where Figma plays a major role. So again, it's very good for wireframing up to about halfway of code and everything else. I've not yet found a good suitable replacement, and it's quite unlikely that something else will come up that'll do everything. But for what Figma does, by God, it's brilliant. All right. So in terms of what Figma can do, we've seen. I'll just go through a couple examples as well in terms of what Figma is capable of. So if you see here, these are some prototypes. You've seen a range of designs, and the beauty of Figma is really allowing you to create a range of styles, a range of pretty much anything you want to create. It's truly a free form tool, and I'll not go into all of these in detail, but pretty much everything that you see here is a Figma template, or it's a Figma creation that is created from scratch. There's a lot. There's quite a lot that Figma can do. Of course, these are all visual prototypes, right? So in the sense, these are something that once they're created, you can edit them, you can move stuff around, you can make changes to it, you can do a whole bunch of stuff. But these ultimately would then need to be shipped to somebody who can build them to make them either live websites or something else. There's a whole range of things. These are all scratch made in Figma. So these are website prototypes. I'll just show you a couple of app prototypes. Okay, let's scroll me out. And social media posts. Now, I did mention social media posts as something that Figma can do. This is something we as a company used to do for the longest of time, because Figma was really the only place that 6-7 of our designers could simultaneously look at the entire board of all designs for the next 1 year and really see whether we're repeating posts, we're changing stuff, etc. And this is something that we absolutely love doing. But over time, what we realized is that we're creating a lot of stuff from scratch, and the number of templates that we need to make, it's probably a lot better to use Canva for. So while Figma can do this, and like I said, this is something we used to do as late as 2023, we have stopped since doing these and moved on to Canva for these sort of things. But again, these are very, very simple, straightforward to make. So you got images, you got text. I'm just sort of peeling the onion here in terms of the design, and I can stitch it back together same way. So I can do that. Let's say I want to change that to something else. So I can quite quickly change stuff on Figma. That's the flexibility that it offers. It would help if you know what you're doing, but it's also great once you get the hang of it in terms of quickly changing designs and quickly creating mocks as well. And this is something that's pretty much good to share as a Facebook image or a banner or something like that. Yeah. Like I said, though, I would no longer recommend Figma for social media posts. That is, the king for that now is Canva, and you can have a whole separate session on that. So coming back to Figma, before I get into one of the flows of how we build stuff, does anyone have any questions on what you've seen so far? And if I can just get a quick sense check of the kind of Figma project you're most interested in learning, just to give me a flavor. So there'll be a poll question that might be pushed out. Oh, I see some of you have already answered that one. Yeah, and I see a majority of you have selected mock-ups of web applications, and some of you have selected mobile applications. In fact, let me just preview that over here. There you go. So those were the survey results. The majority of you have said web applications, it's mobile applications, some basics, and social media. So for the 2 people who voted social media, I would highly suggest that you check out Canva. Like I said, I would no longer recommend Figma for that. And if you're interested in a separate session for Canva, there will be one that's coming up as well. So stay tuned for an email update on that. So I'm glad most of you selected web applications. Few, because that's what I was going to show you today, unless this was a rigged vote. No, all elections are fair. Sorry, let's not go into there now. Let me show you how we have been building this product. And this is something, like I mentioned, is happening very real time. The Safe Spaces application, the one that I demoed to you earlier. So big picture time. There's a couple of steps that I will be showing you, from user stories to low frames to some design, and then high fidelity, and then prototype, and then the actual application. So let me first walk you through how we do this. The first thing that we do is try and define user stories. What we're trying to do is understand what it is that different personas, different people in our application are needing from our application. So we've defined 3 personas: the employee, the HR admin, and Safe Spaces admin. So let's look at the employee, and I'll just pick through a couple of quick examples. So as an employee, I should be able to see some courses, I should be able to watch some videos, should be able to complete a quiz, I should be able to view a certificate. Right? Fairly simple. Just reiterating, this is for a learning management system for a prevention of sexual harassment training. So it's specifically to Safe Spaces and POSH training. Of course, this could apply to any LMS as well, but this is what we had defined as our initial understanding. Being able to define this, again, gets everyone on the same page. Just drafting this out, these days you can just ask ChatGPT, hey, I'm building an LMS for so-and-so, please give me 20 user stories. It'll give them to you. These were not ChatGPT generated. These were in conversation with our client partner on this one. So we drafted these out. You should be able to do this regardless of your technical skill level, etc. If you're in the product management space, this should come quite naturally. If it doesn't, ChatGPT is your good friend, and keep asking it and eliminate things that don't make sense. So once you've got your user stories, typically what we do is start laying them out at the top. So some of these, we would put as screens on top over here, and have, say, lessons, different lessons. We'll have quiz and certificates. Oh, I see that it's not made it to this. So what we do is we first create very low-level gray frames, which are basically simple gray boxes where if you look at the screen, you kind of understand what's happening here. You've got one screen that just says email, password, and submit. Clicking submit, you go to your dashboard, which just has your name, just says dashboard, and I assume this is a course. Once you're in the course, you can see your lessons outline. Again, we put some boxes here, and then you can see that we've actually selected a few to try and show some right or wrong answers. And you can show something that has been completed, and you can submit it, etc. So this sort of flow, many of you will be familiar with the term low-level designs, or if you're not, that's a term you can go for. We like the term gray frames. That's just a term we use at our company because we understand that these aren't wireframes, they're sad gray frames, and you should not derive any happiness from this kind of design, apart from the fact that, yes, does it have the functionality that I'm looking for? And if it does, you're good for this. As a manager, I would say that if you can create gray frames of anything that you have in your mind, that is about 90% of what I would expect a manager to do. If you can add color, you can add design, etc. But if you can do this, it's effectively a virtual whiteboard. And being able to do this itself is extremely powerful. And I'll show you in a couple of minutes how you can do that quite quickly. And in today's session, you will be doing a sort of mini version of this as well, or something similar. So this is the gray frames. And you can see I've, for my next persona, which is the HR admin, I've created some sort of user stories. And you can see that I haven't gotten around to gray frames yet, but just to help me structure my thought process, I just write the user story here. So this screen, one day, sometime in the future, will contain the HR can log in. And one day, HR can see the course descriptions. And one day, HR can purchase credits for the courses. This was a copy, ignore that. So these very, very simple text box in the middle of an open screen just allows me to structure the flow that I'm expecting from each user. I like to call them critical paths. So if you have a critical path of logging in, doing something, seeing something, and then logging out, and just put them as text on white screens, and that'll just help structure your thought process. And if something doesn't make sense in this flow, it'll definitely not make sense in this flow. And it'll definitely not make sense in the next flow, which is your high fidelity screens. This is the good stuff. So you can see over here, I've got a screen that is now looking a lot prettier. It's got an image and all of that. The courses page is now evolved into a complete dashboard with little numbers and colors and icons, and there's a wise quote individually via one drop, together we are an ocean. That's very powerful. And just as an indication, you got your sidebar, you got a whole bunch of stuff happening over here. This is pretty much ready to push to a development team. It was ready to present to a client. And when they saw this, they were very happy. It looks like hours of work or days of research and work, etc. Again, this entire process took only a couple of hours on that day. It was a very fine Saturday that we decided to get started on this. And you can see here, there's multiple other screens. We've also got mobile versions of the same thing. So you can see I've got a mobile mockup. About the same thing, but in mobile view, the same course, the certificate page as well. And all of this you can open on your phone, you can show it to a prospective client, and they will love you for it. All right. And then you can see over here, this is the prototype that I shared earlier, right at the beginning. That seems to have jumped off somewhere else, so I'll skip that. And just to give you an indication of the pace at which we operate, the designs were done about 2 weeks back, and we started doing the dev work about a week ago. This is a current working Flutter application. And so if you click start and go through here, this is actually going to play the video.
Welcome to the Posh Stands. This course.
And in fact, it's a perfectly usable application that is currently deployed on a web server, but eventually this will be an iPad installable, Android installable, iPhone installable application as well. This is all done in Google Flutter. This goes to our engineering team and they take care of it. So all they need is just give me these screens and tell me anything I need to know about the functionality, and I will make this happen. And so we were able to go from pretty much this to this in about 2 weeks. And this application will take probably another week and a half to finalize, and hopefully we will have a production grade system that's able to generate revenue. And this would all have taken much, much longer if Figma wasn't there, because I had a team of people as well jumping in, adding comments, making changes, using multiple components that I can share and easily build off somebody else as well. All right. So I'll take a quick pause here. There's a couple of questions that had come in, so I'm going to just start and address those. We've got a question on, can I use the wireframe that I designed in Figma and have AI generate the native Android iOS code behind it? So I'm just drop this here. This was the question. And I would say, in my humble opinion, we are not there yet. And this is more from my engineering side of our company, where there are frameworks that allow you to generate the code, and the way it requires the Figma file itself to be set up requires you to actually understand how code is generated in Android and iOS. So in fact, we realized that we had to learn how like Flutter widgets worked so that we could create components and create variables and parameters for each of the Figma designs, that in effect, we were building the entire application in Figma. And so that was not efficient at all for us. This is as of 2023. I suspect that by 2026, the AI would be able to understand intent and generate usable code. The other alternative, if you're specifically focused on being able to generate prototypes and use them as applications, is use something like Flutter Flow, which is, again, based on Flutter. It's really meant for devs, but if you can, as a savvy techie manager, potentially create your own application. But I would not recommend trying to do this at this point. If I can get a thumbs up from anyone who thought that was a good answer, or if anyone has any disagreement to that, please give me a frowny face. Or what options do we have here? We do have a lot of options. We have something that looks like a tomato. Oh, that tomato just went up. Oh, there was one tomato. Was that mine? Oh, no. Please send me another message. I will get back to you if there's another tomato. Animation. All right. This one's an interesting one. So animation is, like I showed earlier, you can have animation between screens. On hover, on click, on drag. So I would say there's two types of animations that you can think about. One is in Figma, prototype. And the other kind of animation is the use of Lottie files. On screen animation. So, for example, I have a paid plugin for Icon Scout. This is something if you are running a professional UI design or product development shop. Oh, did I get logged out? Am I logged out now? No, it's still logged in. This is called Icon Scout. There are many other free-ish kind of systems. This one is probably the best one. Okay, somehow it has logged me out, so I will just use a free one for now. Okay, so while that's loading, I'll just pop this into a Figma design. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like when we play it. Yeah. So I can see a simple GIF just animates itself without any sort of razzle dazzle. I would say that when it comes to animations, I would call these micro animations. And this is where you can insert tiny things and just make your application a little bit better while you're presenting your prototype. And so, for example, I really like when we use confetti to just announce that, hey, well done, you've completed your certificate, or you are now you've completed your onboarding process and you get a badge of honor, etc. So these are things that you can use and just import them, etc. Now, some of these are paid. If you are quite serious about building good products, and if you're a designer who wants to make your own portfolio, please stick in a lot of micro animations. This has really evolved quite a lot in the last few years. And if you notice, all of your applications these days, when you click like on YouTube, you click like on Spotify, you click everything, they're all micro animations. So this is the tool for that. I would say Scout or animations. Although I will be sharing this file with you after this, so you will have access to my notes as well as the recording. How do we start something from scratch? Well, stay tuned. I will show that to you very soon. You'll notice I am copy pasting and screenshotting, and I've got my friends here who allow me to drag and drop. This is a macOS tool. To it just died. Interesting. Called CleanShot. It just allows you to see in clipboard your history of screenshots, etc. It's quite useful. What file formats are they exported to? So typically you would want to share, if you're talking to a client prospect, a clickable prototype. So that would be at least 70–80% of your deliverable, where you're taking this one of your screens, you're making a prototype, and you click play, and you can get the prototype link that can be shared with others. So click here, share prototype. That's the one that you would want to be sharing with. But if you got some folks that you want to just articulate like a version of your screens, you would just download a PDF for that and share that. So for example, I've got this screen and I just want somebody to, I just want to PDF this. Some people might just say, just send me a PDF. They're like, no, I want to experience everything. You can also just send a PDF. Oh, this is a weird one, but let me just turn that. PDF. As a PDF. So I get a perfect PDF. Oops. Oh, it's in full screen mode, so it's not allowing me to share, but you get a downloadable PDF over here. You can, of course, do JPGs and PNGs. You can also do an SVG. An SVG is very useful when you're trying to share just a small part of your design, and you want people to be able to zoom in and it won't lose any of the blurring, etc. Because you're trying to send a shape or a logo or a font that needs to look really crisp. So an SVG is when you don't want to lose resolution, because by definition, SVG is a file that is made only of lines and technically mathematical formula, whereas a PNG, while it is lossless, it's lossless image. While it is a lossless image, it is still fixed to a certain resolution. And this is good for logos, and PDF is for everything. One of the other reasons that we really like using the prototype screen just to share is that when you do share and it opens up as a prototype, we use the commenting functionality very often, and we try to get our clients as well to open up Figma with the prototype so that they can just give their comments. Just facing. So you can see I'm adding comments over here, and these are my comments because I've logged in. But once I'm back as an editor on this file, and I see the comment view, I can just see that and go, oh, okay, I need to do something here. And so then I go ahead and fix that. Just use one of the auto spacing options. Okay. And I can close it. And over here, closed. So this makes collaboration very fast. So as much as possible, share only prototypes and not PDFs, because you don't want a Word document or an email with, here are 47 line items in the spreadsheet. Please make the change on screen 1, on screen 2. Just having comments alone is worth its money in terms of productivity and time spent on design. And I hope that answers that question. Yeah. Anubhuti, yes, you had called me, I think. Thanks for joining in. I really appreciate that. Are these the same as what we refer to as mockups? Great question. So mockups, a layman would probably refer to the final versions as mockups. So this is what most people will call as a mockup. Just send me a mockup. This is typically what they have in their mind. You as a manager, or just want to see something good, you would expect a high fidelity mockup with a lot of colors and almost picture perfect. The danger of sending this is obviously this is looking like it's a final piece of work. So if it is in fact your first few discussions and you're just sort of brainstorming what needs to go where, I would focus on just these, your low fidelity designs, LLDs, or as I call them, gray frames. And this is like a very sad design, but it conveys so much in just these. And typically these we would do on a live session, and then we'd improve them over the next couple of days and send them up. But yeah, if anyone says, give me mockups, this is typically what they're referring to. Just so you're clear, I fairly through designs. It always helps to clarify with your other stakeholders, whether they're clients or internal folks, what exactly they are looking for in terms of, is this the level of detail that'll help them get their work done, or they're just trying to get some ideas? what it is that they are looking for. And for you as well, if it's something that you're trying to design, figure out how much time you have to spend on some things, because obviously this is something you can slap together in a couple of minutes, whereas this is at least an hour of good work. Yeah. As you can see here, I really like working with Figma, and one of the hardest things to do is speak at the same time. But once you get the hang of it, it's really quite fun to do. And if you are able to do this, basically Figma designs while speaking, please let me know. We should have a long conversation. All right, can you? There's a couple more questions. Oh, sorry, I didn't quite scroll through this. Can you use Figma to run workshops together? Okay, I'm going to run through these questions, and then I know we're at 7 o'clock, so I'm going to quickly address these. Can you please go through the flows? You're talking about user stories. Okay, I will repeat this very quickly. I'll come back to this in a moment. Can we use Figma to run workshops together? Yes. So there are two different ways that I do this. One is, well, Figma, yes, if you want to allow, if you want to spend money. Let's put it this way. Every designer is a paid license. Figma is not afraid to make money, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great place to be. If you are building software, be Figma. I just want to throw money at them because of how useful it is. But what they have for you is another subtool called FigJam clone. So FigJam is effectively a clone of Miro, and one of the features they have is, which is great, which I love, is allow unlimited editors for 24 hours. FigJam comes as a second license within Figma, but it's very useful that way. But what I have next for you is the ability to, we'll go through a Figma session together, and you can play around with this and you can see if that makes sense for you. Is there a function that converts? No. Okay, I don't want to leave you with just that. I feel sad now. I would say that if at all possible, switch to Canva for pretty slides, or stick to PPT for price slides. Reason is we do about 95% of all presentations on Canva. As a company, we work with a range of clients, etc. And our own pitches and slides and presentations, we just use Canva. But there are a couple of clients who are very, very hardcore Microsoft PowerPoint folks. And while we can export from Canva to PPT and re-import it, there's always some loss in that conversion. And we just came up with the final conclusion that if a client is very, very particular about the way PPT and their animations and everything work, we would just stick to PPT. My only respite, if I had to take your exact question, is use another converter from PPT to SVG and then import. It's not pretty. Figma is not really meant to be a slide generator / template editor. Somesh, I think this might take a little bit more time, but probably towards the end we can have a quick sit down and just go through that once. And Rahul, you have your hand raised about 9 minutes back. Does that answer your question in terms of the Figma Miro thing? Rahul? Your hand is still up, so your hand is down. Fantastic. Very good. but we will come back to this. All right. Now, the second part of this, we have about 30 minutes scheduled. I hope that most of you are in front of your laptop. This is where things are going to get interesting. All right. So I'm going to share this link with you. I'm going to put this in the Q&A. Can you see that in the Q&A section? If not, what I'll do is, yeah, I see people are coming in. Very good. Oh, I feel like I'm in a house party right now. All my friends are just walking in and they're not sure what to do, but they like what's happening. Cool. There's 13, 14 of you. Please do join in. Fantastic. I will wait for about 30 of you to join in. If you're having any issues, please just put a note in the chat. Also, just popped in a QR code. If you want, you can sort of search on that. Just scan that in to something. Yep, that's the QR code. Okay. All right. I'm gonna, once the count hits about 30, I assume that the people who have joined but very politely have not dropped off will be joining. So there's about 60 of us here in total, which is fantastic. Okay. Is anyone trying to join but not able to join? Please put that in the Q&A section that you're having some issues, and we'll try and resolve that. That's about 29. So everyone's going wild. I love it. Love the energy. I hope you guys can still hear me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull you in. Oh, 32. Fantastic. All right. If you are in the other 30 who have not been able to join, please do try and join. Oh, it's 31 now. One of you got scared and walked out of the house party. That's all right. Don't worry. You're still one of us. Okay, so I'm going to just pull everyone in to spotlight me, which means you're all just, if you just don't touch your mouse, it's going to just try and absorb you into my fold, like Sauron in the One Ring. You should now follow me. If you're not able to follow me, or you accidentally click something and now you're not sure what to do, if you can see my screen, just switch over back to the webinar. You can see over here on the top right of your screen, there will be you'll see Vishal, and you can just click my icon and it will follow me. Cool, about 28 followers, so that's the majority of you. A couple of free thinkers over there. Let me just absorb you into the fold and try and do another follow, try and catch every one of you. All right, so I'm gonna move my mouse, and hopefully if you do absolutely nothing, you're gonna just follow me. So it should be a movie for you. Nod silently in your head if that is the case. I'm trusting Figma to handle the details. And again, if you're dropping off as a follower, please refollow me. All right, so, oh, Prashant, no. I'm gonna steal, yeah. Sorry, Prashant, can't have everyone have the power. Okay, so you've seen what Figma does. Figma builds apps, prototypes, you can build landing pages, you can pretty much mock up anything that you want. And what we're gonna do together is create this. Okay, so it's a very simple landing page, and you're probably cringing at this point in terms of, oh, either you're just amazed that that's a landing page, or two, you're just like, I thought I would be a master at the end of this 1.5 hour session. But trust me, if you can build this, you can pretty much do everything else. It's like if you can write all the alphabets in the English book, in the English alphabet, and you can write some words, you can write Shakespeare. Okay, I might be a bit sarcastic there, but these are the most essential skills. All right. So let's first understand the elements that you see over here. And then what we're going to do is look at the shortcuts and the functionality that you need to learn. And then after that, you're going to be doing this. You're going to recreate this from scratch. All right. I hope that sounds good. Oh, just another thing. If you click on this icon, please go ahead and click this icon on your keyboard. Well, when I say icon is the key. You can start typing some comments. Hey guys. Yeah, there you go. Hey Vishal. Hey Rohit. Click, says Advit. Hurry man. Sorry man. Hurry man. Can everyone give their comments? Hello. What's up? Oh, this screen is going to go in my next session because this is awesome. I love this. I've only ever seen this on live sessions. All right, fantastic. These are my comments. It seems my comments move. Okay, cool. I hope everyone is at least able to communicate in case you need to, and you can see each other. Virtual group hug to everybody because you guys are all on the same screen. I feel that we're all in some exciting journey together. So let's get started. All right. So these are the elements we're going to build out, and let's just look up here in terms of just a couple of key shortcuts and things that you need to know. All right. So the first thing is you need to know is the concept of a frame. So everything that you design, by default, it just appears in the whiteboard or the canvas of the entire Figma screen. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to create like a mobile screen or a desktop screen, etc. So first we need to create a frame. So I'm just going to go a little off center here. Just watch me do this. I'm going to press F, and that's going to change my cursor into a frame mode. I'm just going to click and drag a frame, and then I get a frame over here. So everyone just draw tiny frames if you don't mind. We're trying to just compress the real estate to this particular screen. It's tiny frames. That's it. It's tiny frames. All good. Don't worry. You can press Control Z and get rid of that frame. Everyone, please press Control Z and get rid of a few frames, or just delete that. Just create a few frames. Just get the hang of it. Just feel free. Frames are free. Figma licenses, unfortunately, you're not. Okay, so everyone's familiar with the frame now. Now, inside this frame, and this is where we're going to start using a little bit more space, I'm going to just pull you guys back into Spotlight Me. You should now feel my love and follow me. Good. So now let's say we've done this. Let's say checklist. Okay. We're also going to just practice clicking and dragging a frame just so we get the hang of it. So let's say I create a frame here. I can click anywhere in the white space or the name and just move it around. So just create a frame and just move it a little bit. That's all you need to do. Great. Fantastic. Somebody's borrowing my frame as well. Yeah, very good. That's it. Just move the frame around. That's all yours. Very good. Okay, so that's checks. Oh, somebody blocked my screen. I'm gonna delete that. You can click on your frame and just click delete or backspace if you're on Mac. Just go ahead and click delete. Yeah. Very good. There's a bunch of you create a lot of tiny frames, so I'm just going to select them all and delete them. But just go ahead and create a frame and delete your frame. That's all you need to do. If you're familiar with deleting your frame, you can get started on the next little thing, which is creating a rectangle. All right, everyone now follow me. Oops. Stop. Spotlight me again. Okay, so let's go ahead and create tiny rectangles. So just create a rectangle that's about like try and do like an A4 size portrait page. Just try that shape. Again, I should, yeah, just tiny boxes, guys, tiny. We're all trying to squeeze in the same space. I appreciate the enthusiasm, but can we just zoom out just so there's more real estate? Yeah. Okay, good. Somebody's, thank you. Thanks for deleting that. Okay, cool. So those are rectangles, and now let's try and create squares. So if you have an R, And instead of just dragging and dropping, you press Shift and drag and drop. So you get a perfect square. So everyone, please, perfect squares. Everyone, please, perfect squares. Perfect squares. There you go. That's it. If anyone is not able to get perfect squares, just go back to a rectangle. And instead of when you click and then you drag it, hold Shift, you can intermediately, while doing a rectangle, you can just press and hold Shift. It'll switch to a square. So it's again, you don't need to press Shift when you start creating it, but when you let go, you need to have the Shift on, so it'll make you a square. Very good. Now we've got that out of the way, and I think we've accidentally deleted my shortcut guide, so that's okay. I'm gonna bring this one. I'm gonna just wipe out all of these squares. Fantastic, you guys are awesome. But now let's create circles. First, press O. O is for oval, so it'll just create ovals. Press O again. Tiny ovals, tiny ovals, tiny ovals. All right. Ovals. This one's a big guy. Sorry, I'm going to move this out of the way. Fenrir. Arvind, well done. Okay, and you might be able to guess how to create a perfect circle this time. So if you were able to create an oval, go ahead and now create a perfect circle. Somebody, I think, accidentally copy pasted something. Perfect circles. So press O, click, and then hold Shift, and then let go. There you go. Everyone should be able to create perfect circles. If you're not able to, again, just click when you have O, and then Shift, and then drop. If you're still not able to, just press the / and just type that you're struggling. See, Ambuji is playing around with the circle there. Gaurav is happily sitting on a large circle. Fantastic. A lot of great circles. Love it. Great job. Okay, and that is pretty much the shapes. Now let's look at a couple of text fields. So let's just type a few text here. So I'm just going to wipe off all of the, in fact, it's not wipe it up. Just scroll down. Just follow me. I'm going to spotlight and just follow me down here. Feel the pull of my love. There you go. All right. Now create little frames. Let's create little frames. You will need frames because text needs something to sit on, or at least to be visible. And at this point, you should also be able to zoom in and zoom out. So I use the control mouse wheel, or if you're in Mac, you would use the command scroll wheel. But press T for text and start typing. Hello there. If anyone is not able to type, yeah, I agree. This is trippy. Isn't it awesome how everyone is doing their own thing on the same exact file and just versioning is happening live? Yep. Hello, everyone. Marvin? Marvin, are you able to? Marvin's trying to sample a color. Press T, Marvin. Yeah. Mona Lisa's there. Gaurav is there. Hello, everyone, says Ranj. Finally able to type. Yes. Claps to you, my friend. If anyone is not able to type, yep, thanks, Vishal. Yeah, you're welcome there. Love it. Love the session. If you don't mind, just put your mouse on it so I can screenshot you on it. And thank you. You're blocking session for me. Yeah. Put your mouse down about 1 centimeter, Ambu. Thank you. There we go. Cool. How to edit text? Oh, great question. Just double click on it and you can start editing it. Everyone, please try editing your text. You guys are doing fantastic, by the way. This is the fastest I've seen anyone quickly make stuff on Figma. Well done. Any advice on? Okay, there's a question over here. All right. I think you have now the necessary skills to recreate this guy. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, I'm just going to duplicate this about 20 times. And by the way, the shortcut for duplicate is either Command D or Control D. So you simply click on something and you press Control D or Command D and it duplicates. So everyone just scroll down until you have a empty spot where nobody else is doing anything. And go ahead and create a frame on the right side of that box or the left side, it doesn't matter. So you're just using the one in the middle as a reference. So just create a frame on the right side and the left side. Yeah, go ahead and create your frames. Yeah, perfect. So if there's a spot on the left or the right of any of these frames, just go ahead and fill that up. Somebody's very Russian at the moment. Oops, let me just get rid of this box. All right. So please just follow me over here, guys. I'm not gonna pull me, but if you can click and follow me, yeah, just create a box. No, Shivdeep, you're not Vishal Kumar. Yeah. Yeah, that's the spirit. Yeah. In fact, there's a small thing that you can do. Just stretch that text box so that it, so if you see that text box, I'm just sort of making it bigger and smaller. Yeah. I still have 8 followers, so go forth and create your own designs, dear followers. I'm going to stop my following. And what I'm going to do is one of the more slightly advanced thing is create a master component. Okay. Yeah. If you're just cloning my screen and just changing the name, that does not count. Sangeeta, I see what you're doing there. This is going on record. Yeah. Create a frame. Just create some text over there. Create a rectangle and create a circle. Yeah. Now, yeah, everyone should be able to create a frame like this. Now, if you're still stuck, I'm going to just do this in front of you. So feel free to follow me. You can just click on my name at the top. It should be under Vishal. So please just follow me if you were not able to follow along. That's perfectly fine. So I'm going to press F. I'm just going to create a box first. Then I'm going to press T and I'm going to type something. So I'm going to just put logo. And then I have 2 choices. I can press T again, and then I can give my second one. Or, and this is one of the popular features of Figma, I can duplicate or clone any entity by simply clicking and I believe Alt dragging it, or if you're on macOS, Option dragging it. So if I click and Option drag, click and Option drag, click and Option drag. So that allows me to quickly clone stuff. And I'm just going to clean this up. So if you see home, and I double click to change the text, and I click again here, and I click contact. Okay, and now I'm going to create this sort of hero bannerish kind of stuff. I'm just going to press R for rectangle. Okay, and now I'm going to create this little text thing here. So that's again logo. Oh, so now we have something that's a little complicated where the order of the layers makes a difference. But I'm just going to create T. I'm just going to type T and just type in show. And then there's a contact me at the bottom. So I'm just going to create a box. And then I'm going to type contact me. And I see that this particular box is too small. The text is actually overflowing. So I'm going to drag this out so that the text doesn't get wrapped. And I'm going to move the text just so it fits comfortably inside the box. Obviously, if your box is too small, you just sort of find just the box around, and then you resize your box. And as you're maybe clicking or dragging around, you'll see there's some helpful lines in terms of aligning stuff. So if you do this correctly, that contact me box should show a red line just above it when you're right at the center. It's just trying to indicate that it is perfectly center aligned. In fact, there's a on the top right of your screen. If you click on this, it'll also perfectly center align your screen as well. Okay. Now the last part, which is that little circle, not so little circle, is if I do a perfect circle, it's still the same color as the gray behind it. And so on the right side of your screen, if you see over there, it'll say fill. You want to look at that. So if you see the screen, you want to click on that fill, and you want to select any color you want. You know, this is a color picker. You can choose any color you want. I'm just going to go with black, and then let it go. Okay. Okay. Feel free to just play around with the rest of Figma. These are some of the essentials. I want everyone to choose a different color. So I see a lot of reds. It's not really inspiring. Throw me some greens and yellows, people. Throw me some blues. Are we not bleeding blue? Cool. All right, I'm just gonna head back and check the Q&A in case anyone else had written something. Can't see the QR anymore. Oh, I'm so sorry. Shake, let me. Let me just pin this so that in case somebody's looking for it, comes. There you go. Mona Lisa says she's not able to create frame or write text. Mona Lisa, do you want to just follow me? Just click on my icon at the top right. I am Vishal. Oh, there's a whole bunch of you who are can view. All right, a whole bunch of you, I think we're not able to edit, so you get the joy of redoing some of that. Oh, I'm a bit surprised, but I'm just going to update the licenses over here. Is there anyone who is not able to create something? All right, quick time check. I am respectful for most of you who have joined with a specific intent of staying on till only 7:30. Cool. Sugandha, are you able to edit and type now? And Ruchit is having some issues. So I'm going to just fly over to you, Ruchit, if you have used your name correctly. All right. Hey, Ruchit. Oh, nice. Okay, so what difficulty are you having to change the size of the frame? So you click on the frame name, which is on the top left, And then that gives you the editability of the frame. And now you can check. There you go. My man, well done. Okay. Sukanda, let me just fly over to you. Hey, Sukanda. Welcome to the show. All right, let's see you put a rectangle up. Oh, I thought I was just there. Hey, Sukanda, are you able to put a rectangle or something? I'm not able to change the color. Okay, let's take a look. Don't have the options. All right. So first of all, so what you should be seeing, so Anjani, is something that looks like this. I'm just screenshotting my screen, so hopefully that is similar to what you're seeing. Are you seeing something like this? If you're not seeing that, maybe you haven't clicked on that particular item. There's a frame inside a frame. That's why. Okay, let me get rid of you. You know. Okay, now can you try clicking on the ellipse, Ranjini? Hello. Hi, Ranj. Can you click on that ellipse and then click on fill on the right side? Are you seeing the option? Yeah, you've definitely clicked it. So now you unclicked it. So I can see your outline of the shape you clicked on. And then on there's a small, effectively what you're doing is trying to click here. Click on that. Okay, that is. See, so do you not have a right and left panel? I'm wondering if you have hidden off your side keys. Click on. So some of you might have accidentally hidden your side, your shortcuts panel on all of the options, etc. So what happens is you can choose to enable or disable your entire editors. And you do this by clicking either Control / or Command / depending on Mac or iOS. So you should be able to do something like this. If you're still having, no, somebody was kind enough to change everything. So I'm going to just kind of go back to this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are on time for 7:30. Oh, well, this, yes. Commands for duplicate is Command D. How you move layers around, on the left side, you can just drag and drop different texts. And you want a layer to come front, you just click on that and either drag it all the way to the top, or you press Control and right square bracket. And you got the awesome, Anjani. Well done. I feel happy. I can sleep better now. All right, guys. I'm going to leave some of you to play around this file. I'll keep it open for the next 24 hours. If you wish, you can clone this to yourself. You can create your own free Figma account and use that in drafts. But I'll leave this to play around with because it is a paid license if you want to do a lot more fun stuff. But as a draft, you can clone it to yourself. All right. So we are pretty much on time. I'm just wondering if we have enough time to do something with AI. So I'm going to ask everyone to come back to the webinar. If you guys can just drift off Figma for a while. and just join me back here in the webinar. Yeah, very good. Just give me a thumbs up if you liked what you saw so far and kind of experienced. Just give me a thumbs up. Yes. Oh, a whole heap of thumbs up. Thank you. There you go. Wow. There's a round potato smiley face, which is also brilliant. All right. We are on time pretty much in terms of what I had planned, in terms of going through the basics of why Figma, what is possible in Figma, and a little bit of playing around in Figma. The intention is that as managers, as leaders, you should be aware of what is possible in Figma. For some of you, this might be the extent of Figma that you might do for the rest of your lives. But for some of you, I hope this is just a starting point and you do take a look at what is really possible in Figma, and just be aware of it. And when some designer or developer says, oh, how does this look like? You can just create some quick box in front of them and say, this is what's there. And then you can just ask your designer or anyone else to say, oh, make this look better, right? So that it's a great starting point that I find. All right, now there's one last thing, and I know we're on time, and if somebody is leaving, you can please definitely leave, but I did want to share kind of one tiny workflow that I do in using ChatGPT and AI. So can I get sort of like maybe a peace emoji, just saying that you are in peace with the fact that we will be going over time? If I get like 10 of these, I'll do that. Cool. There's a lot of you who are feeling at peace today, so very well. And in case you were curious, I'm using a browser called Arc browser. It's only on Mac at the moment, but it's quite a nice browser. I think I'm not logged into ChatGPT on this one, so I'm going to do it in this one instead. All right. So just very quick thing on ChatGPT. I hope everyone is using ChatGPT shamelessly. If you are not, please do so. I'll just show you how I use ChatGPT in some of the places. Again, this is two things which I find quite useful. One is using ChatGPT to generate ideas. So, for example, I want to design a landing page, or I want to create a web application, and I'm just trying to think, oh, what all should be there? So even if before I get to Figma, I use ChatGPT as creating a checklist of all the features. First thing I do is I structure my prompt in a way that the ChatGPT starts giving me the best answers for. So act as my UI design consultant. That's the first thing I say, just act as something, right? It helps just give better answers. Act as this thing. I am building an online learning platform for HR training. Please suggest what skills I should build. Ignore the typos. So it's going to do that. Let's see. So it just comes up with things that, are very good as a checklist. Again, nothing you haven't heard of, but it's just very useful to quickly come up with user stories, right? So now this is just a list of features. So now I'll ask it to create a set of user stories for the following personas: employees, HR admins, platform admins, group manage their licenses. So remember, when you want to start building a product out and you're trying to convince people, like, okay, this is the features, this is what I'm going to be doing, and just get everyone on the same page, this is a highly useful way of coming up with user stories. And just answering, hopefully addressing one of you guys' questions in terms of how the process of building out this is one of the things that we would do. There's a lot of lot of user stories. So usually you start with everything and then you cross out everything that's not needed. Okay, now let us say these are some of the user stories. It's come up with all of these, and I've got different questions. Now I can do some mockups. So let me just try. And when I say mockups, it's AI generated graphics, not Figma mockups. So again, I use the term very loosely here, but create a sample design of a learning dashboard. Include list of courses and some sample certificates. Let's see, I've never seen it do this, so I'm gonna see how it fares. By the way, I am using ChatGPT 4.0, which is the paid version, so that comes built in with DALL-E, which is the image generation, and I'm hoping it will. Oh, no, it's doing something else altogether. My bad. Create an image of learning dashboard, include a list of courses and some sample certificates. Yeah, just ignore all of this. This has gone into creating the program, but this is what I wanted. So it's going into trying to create something. Okay, as you can see, this is very different, but hopefully it'll give you enough of a concept that you can go back into Figma. And most of you are going to be very disappointed with what I'm going to do next. Is use this as an inspiration and then either recreate this or start making some specific changes to it. So again, once you get the hang of it, you don't really worry about the small aspects of specific items, but you sort of focus on the big picture. And there's a concept of like creating components, so you can just duplicate these. Let's create some pie charts. Again, this is a concept called master components. So whatever I make to one, I can apply to the others. And that's something that you don't get in other applications, right? You would probably not have experienced this sort of quickly duplicating something and creating artifacts like that. But I'll go ahead and create this. Yeah, like I said, you're probably disappointed about how AI didn't just create the whole screen for me. But if you are able to do this fairly quickly, you'll find that this is actually reasonably efficient in creating a wireframe that you can then go ahead and have a discussion with. And I'll not probably put everything, but yeah, you can do a whole bunch of stuff. Again, it comes with some practice and speed, etc. And I find this quite useful, but you can use this to generate, for example, a color palette. One of the things that is very tricky for typical non-designers is coming up with nice colors. And here you can just take this and sample what you think looks nice. There you go. You can apply that color scheme to whatever else you're doing. So got little boxes here. Let's create that. And that box instead might be blue. Yeah. So I can choose something that looks readily nice, quickly recreate it, and have something that's very presentable very quickly. Yeah. Let's do that. Right. One more last thing on this one is something I learned yesterday. I too am learning, by the way, is if I want, I can select some aspects of this and I can make specific changes. Fingers crossed, by the way. AI is not perfect. Give it a couple of years. Please be patient. Let's just see what it comes up with. This is consuming a lot of cloud somewhere. Oh, cool. So as you can see here, it has listened to me very literally and just removed that section. By the way, this is cutting edge stuff in the world of AI, where you can select only one part of it and it can change only one part of it. Previously, you needed to regenerate everything from scratch, and this was not possible. This is very exciting stuff, despite how miserable this current design looks like. But in the right hands, you can have something that's far more usable, that requires very little time to recreate, because a lot of the thinking process of something that looks nice, something that has a good layout, something that has some good color schema, that's already mishmashed from other designs and produced in front of you. All right. That is pretty much what I wanted to share with you today in terms of that last little bit of AI. So I hope that gave you something interesting to think about in terms of what's possible in the future. Coming back to the very first question of whether we can have AI take our screens and build it out in front of us and do all of that. We're not there yet. As managers, we would love for that to happen. As designers or developers, probably be slightly horrified. But suffice to say, there's more than enough space for us to add value as designers, as developers, and as managers. All right, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your time, and I hope you had a very good learning experience today. Thank you for the claps. Claps are much appreciated. If there's any further questions, please reach out to me over LinkedIn. That is currently my most preferred way to get in touch, and please do stay in touch. Do message and do follow me there. For anyone who has any specific questions, again, LinkedIn's the best way. I will be having sessions on other tools. Again, Figma is a great design tool, but it's not everything for everyone. Possibly around Canva, and possibly a lot more in-depth around AI and design. So if there's anything in interest, anything that you're looking for in particular, please do drop me a message and we will take that up. All right. With that, I will be ending this call, and I've noted down a couple of questions. I will put that in the Figma file so that you have that as reference, and we'll share that in the follow-up email. All right, thanks everyone. And special thanks to my volunteers. I know you didn't said don't take names, but Prachi, Sangeeta, and Sudipta, thank you so much. This would not have been possible without you guys. All right, have a great day, evening, night, wherever you are, and see you guys in the future. Peace.